wanted to write you this poem to celebrate our love for you.
The memories we built together will stay with us through and through.
We cannot believe you are now married. Our bestie is all grown up.
We hope your day is as perfect as Max's would have been if Man United won the FA Cup.
It's only fitting to start at the beginning. Sophie, my big sister, a bond never thinning. For nearly 30 years by my side, you and I have embarked on life's exciting ride. Through childhood adventures, we both would roam, being cheered on in our joyful family home. In mischief and giggles, we found our delight, until you stole my clothes, which guaranteed a fight. Memories and stories we both have made, embarrassing moments where weirdness never fades. So now is the time to share tales of our youth, our silliness, laughter, and being occasionally uncouth. In bright pink Barbie car, we both would ride. Sophie, the designated driver, with style and pride. Coolest kids in Barkham, the village would agree. The height of fashion, we were a sight to see. We had nerdy discussions late at night. Our school register game really took flight. A complex game, intricate and grand. Don't ask us to explain. You wouldn't understand. Sophie firmly believed, with no doubt, that Sasha, our Labrador, could truly speak out. She pleaded with Sasha, her hopes running deep, believing in her heart that the dog could speak. On family holidays, booster seats in tow, we instructed them firmly, stick together, don't go. But a baggage reclaim, oh, what a mess. They arrived alone, causing us much distress. Phobias shared like birds in flight. Pigeons cause terror, not a pretty sight. The flapping in our hair, we both totally freak. Oh, the irony of dreading such a harmless beak. Laughter uncontrollable in moments so wrong. The more we tried to stop, the more it would prolong. Serious trouble came as we struggled to contain the infectious giggles that were such a pain. Sophie, you're my sister and my bestest of friends. Lucky us to have a connection that will never end. Enough tales of our childhood, we turn the page to delve into stories of a different stage.
Growing up with you by my side, 18 years of friendship gives me so much pride. Fond memories of watching Barkham's fireworks with our backcombed hair, wellies and all of our quirks. Science classes together with Mr. Hodges and Dr. Allison. They separated us for talking, spoiling all of our fun. Camping at Becky Quinn's, age 14 or 15. Sophie sipped whiskey for the first time, not a sight to be seen. The first road trip with Harriet's driving test complete. Dangerous whoopsie moments, but still laughing in the back seat. Such horrendous weather, but we were so happy being together. London nights out, our 18th year in bloom. Sophie always being approached, being fed chat-up lines of doom. Balls in your court, a phrase we won't forget. Phone tennis and laughter, moments that will set. Locked out of the flat in the middle of the night, a locksmith was summoned, who was very polite. Just a few of our hilarious tales, where laughter and silliness never ever failed.
Skipping on a few years, came Surrey Uni, excited freshers smiling with glee. A fellow dietetics keen bean, bonding on a bar crawl, fancy dress, and drinking became our routine. Sophie made friends with the bouncers at Rubik's, which we couldn't be more grateful for. Getting to queue jump and starting the laps whilst trying to avoid ending up on the floor.
Our first trip away, skiing in Balti. Such adventures we had, young, wild and free. Room D11, what a delight. The friendly ghost Florence gave Sophie a fright. With MNG, citrus and tickled ivory, those 4 years are a bit of a blur, but it would not have been the same without her.
Graduation came, oh what a shame. Despite our jobs in different places on the south coast, our weekends were spent in London with friends, drink or a roast. The Surrey alumni friendships grew and grew.
as did the adventures, brunches, and party woo-woo. Wherever the world went in the world to travel, Flemmy the Flamingo was there for the fun to unravel. Bar the stupid games, shit-chat, or accidental flash, Sophie still kept her cool, and we had a memorable bash.
Babe house weekends away, Oman and Dubai leading each other astray. Girls' trips with Côte de Provence always on the rounds. Sophie's strange sleeping sounds. Canaries, Ibiza, Malta, where laughter would never falter. The questionable rental car. What cool kids we are. Together we took on the London dating scene, getting each other's advice at every turn so as not to be too keen. We picked each other up and laughed until we cried. We're so lucky to have a friend who is so funny but also kind.
And now to tram and social for that fateful night. Max attracting Sophie across the dance floor with his height.
They exchanged numbers and started their courting. We would wait eagerly for the post-date reporting. And now we stand here by your side, watching you marry Max with so much joy and pride.
Max, we love you and you're a legend. We know you'll look after Sophie until the end.
Sophie Barrow, you found your perfect match, a partner for life. Well done.
Please will everyone raise a glass to love and laughter, to the journey ahead, now and hereafter.
Hello. Just wondered if I could have everyone's attention, please. So I know that it's not traditional for a bride to do a speech, but I have a huge amount of thank yous to give, and although I know that I can rely on my amazing husband to give them, as he would say, Sophie girls can do stuff too. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. Honestly, looking across a room of all familiar faces is absolutely incredible, and I just want to soak up every moment. There were some people that made an extra effort to travel here today. Unlike my parents who woke up this morning and looked out their window and this wedding was just happening on their doorstep. Some people did travel a little further. So thank you to Margaret and Chris, who have travelled from France, and also Max's uncle Simon, who also travelled from France. Thank you also to my auntie and uncle and cousins, Becky, Alex, Ian and Karen, who have travelled all the way from the States. But I think we know who made the record today. 7 Rakes, thank you so much for travelling all the way from Sydney, Australia. My next thank you is to my incredible parents, Nikki and Kim. For those of you who don't know which way round they are, Kim is my dad, yes, like Kardashian. Although I did joke that my parents rolled out of bed this morning, they have put in an incredible amount of effort to make this day happen. And it meant so much to me to get married here. I have lived here for 30 years. I only had 18 months of my life not here. So it really, really did mean so much to me that I would get married here, and I was very lucky that my lovely husband was so supportive. My mum has been a very professional wedding planner. She is just so good at it and thinks of everything. She is so good that her contract has been extended another year. Anna and Chris are getting married here next. Also have incredible friends who help them out and really make today all come together. And I honestly cannot be thankful enough for everyone that helped. But a big shout out to the Darcys, who just made so much effort. And actually, John Darcy is the reason you can hear me now. Not only did my parents obviously host today's wedding, but they decided that that wasn't quite enough for for them, and my mum has baked our wedding cake, and my dad has made a wedding IPA. I'm sure you're all looking forward to celebrating. You are the best parents. You've been amazing for my 31 years. You are a great team, and you are pure couple goals with 35 years of marriage under your belt. So thank you for being here. Please raise a glass to my incredible parents, Nikki and Kim.
Yeah, you did too. There we go.
The other couple that are couple goals are Max's parents, Vanessa and Tony, with 37 years of Max, we have learned from the best, there really are no excuses. I first met Vanessa and Tony about 4 years ago, and they were incredibly welcoming from the moment I met them. I'd only met Max a couple of months before, but they actually invited me on a ski trip 10 months in advance. I could see the panic on Max's face. You never plan something for longer than you've been together. I don't think Vanessa and Tony had read that rule book. But it was a sign of what was to come. Our diaries are always very full with very fun activities, and I look forward to many, many more years of those. I'm very lucky to be my new siblings, Sophie, Heidi, John and Lewis. Being the last other half to join the sibling group could have been a little bit daunting, but you guys all felt like family from day one. There has not been a Sophie Barrow for 5 years, but I am very glad to be taking those reins off. I'm going to have to really draw on your 27 years experience, Sophie. I have very big shoes to fill. I can now call myself Lola and Lara's auntie, which could be more exciting than calling myself a wife. Max and I love these girls so much, and we'll often find ourselves quoting little things they have said. And it was so special to have them as our flower girls, and they made it down the aisle. Please raise a glass to my in-laws.
Barrow.
As well as amazing families, Max and I have incredible friends who planned the best stag and hen nights for us. Of course, the hen was a lot better than the stag, but it's not a competition. Michael, Robbie, Toots and Charles, you are great friends to me and to Max. Thank you so much for speaking to Max about gaming and sports so I don't have to. On to my bridesmaids, Izzy, Erika, Katie and Anna. I'm sure everyone will agree they look absolutely gorgeous today and did the most amazing colours. They are beautiful inside and out. I've renamed them my Seamless Dream Team because they really did plan the best hen ever. Sorry, I know I'm going on about it. I haven't stopped talking about it. Katie. I have known Katie for 18 years. We followed the same path, going to the same school, same uni, doing the same degree, same job, even got married in the same year. I would love to say that it was our passion for nutrition and dietetics that we really bonded over, but actually it was our passion for chatting. As Katie referenced earlier, we were separated most classes for chatting too much, and we definitely didn't learn our lesson at uni or beyond. Katie, you're an amazing friend, and I look forward to doing much more chatting with you. Izzy and Erika, my gorgeous SW babes. I've had to group you together because my dad can't tell you apart. We met in our first term of uni when we bonded over our love of skiing and just holidays in general. We have been on so many trips, I lost count. Erika is our incredible trip organiser, and and Izzy and I are pretty good at showing up at the airport to our fully organised trip. During the second lockdown, when we were unable to go on holiday, we were very lucky to live very close to each other. And it was miserable January, and we would still make sure that we met up regularly, shelter under a tree, and talked for hours to make sure we were fully caught up on what was going on in each other's lives, which of course was absolutely nothing. You are incredible friends, and I love you so much. Thank you for being here. There you are, you're hiding behind Chris. I can't remember the first 18 months of my life. Thank God, because I'm sure they were miserable without you. You were my best friend, and you still would be even if we weren't related. We lived together for 25 years, a full life sentence. Of course, there was the odd argument about stealing each other's clothes, which Anna also alluded to. I think it was more me stealing her clothes. But other than that, you were the perfect housemate. We very much got each other through the first lockdown with our gourmet dinner parties for two and our rationed chocolate biscuits. You were great support with the wedding planning, and I cannot wait to do the same for you next year, for you and Chris's wedding. Bridesmaids for a total of 73 years, and I'm only 31. Of course, there have been highs and lows during this time, and we've seen each other's very highs and very lows. But actually, looking at you all individually, I realised that in 2023, I've never seen each one of you happier, which fills me with so much joy. Incredible bridesmaids. Max and I met in a club, which we have definitely alluded to. I think we're quite proud of it. It's called Tram and Social. For those of you who have not been privileged enough to go to Tram and Social, I thought I'd give you an insight into what type of place this is, with a recent Google review. So, Nicholas gave it 2 out of 5 stars and said, "This place was littered with cups and the patrons were turning the dance floor into a swimming pool. My feet had more alcohol than I did." I think I might have been there the same night Nicholas was there. Soon after our first meeting, or our bump-in situation, we had our first date. We had so much fun and definitely clicked from day one. I had found my perfect man. I even told Izzy and Erika that Max would be after our first date, that Max would be the man I would marry. I'm sure that taught you eye roll. Hey, look where we are. This wasn't until around our 3rd date when I found out something very bad about Max. He was in fact a fussy eater. My worst nightmare. Luckily, I was a dietitian and had a lot of professional experience teaching 3-year-olds how to be less fussy. Unfortunately, my strategies of a sticker reward chart and cheering and clapping when he tried new foods didn't go so well on my 27-year-old boyfriend. But I would like to say that 4.5 years on, we are getting there. As many of you know, I am the most indecisive person on this planet. I have planned about 20 different weddings because I just can't make up my mind. The one thing I never doubted, Max, is marrying you. I love how you manage to see the funny side of everything, and I know with you by my side, I will be laughing every day for the rest of my life. Not only are you funny, but you're incredibly supportive, and we make a great team. Me as the interior designer, you as the builder. Please be upstanding to my amazing husband, Max.
ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention? Thank you. So, I would like to welcome you all to this splendid occasion, where I hope not to keep you too long, but I hope also that I can divulge some points of interest and some of importance. But first of all, we must remember, this is not just any wedding, this is an M&S wedding. And I'm pleased to see that burying the sausages last night was time well spent. And for those of you that do not know what on earth I'm talking about, Sophie wanted this to be a sunny day. So she looked in the great book of truths, and it said, bury sausages at an event, guaranteed sunshine, and hey, it works! We, of course, will be left fighting off the marauding foxes who are going to be digging up our garden for the next few weeks, but hey, we will do that with a song in our heart, because Sophie's wish came true. Now, what I really should do is say a few thank yous, because it is my role, and I'm going to start with a long time ago. And I'm first of all going to thank my esteemed father-in-law, John, who gave me a very precious gift. And that, of course, was the hand of your second daughter, Nikki, who is my gorgeous wife, but more importantly, the mother of the bride. And you see, it was via Nikki that I got my next precious gift. My gorgeous daughter, Sophie, who, of course, is the blushing bride herself. Now, I say she's a gorgeous daughter, and most of the time she is, but all children have their moments, and maybe we can come on to a couple of those a little bit later. Now, as well as thanking Nikki for having, let's say, the biggest role in creating this delightful bride, I had a small part in there myself, I should also thank Nikki for her coordinating and being part of the meticulous planning and organisation that goes into setting up an event like this. But she was not satisfied with just doing that, as Sophie has said. She wanted to have a great big hand in doing the flowers, and of course decided she was going to make the wedding cake. And yes, she did make the wedding cake. Now, we were talking to a friend about this the other day, and the friend heard Nikki was going to make it and just looked at her aghast. And she said, Nikki, what on earth are you thinking of? You have enough on. You're going to make the wedding cake, for God's sake. How big is it? How many tiers? Oh God, there's been loads, I said. But if you look at the cake over there, you will see the real answer was 3. 3 tiers. Now, I can't, of course, just thank the bride's mother for producing a bride, because these events require a groom as well. And what a fine groom he is. So I must thank Ness and Tony for producing such a fine son who has swept my daughter off her feet and guided her through to where we are today. And we're all so happy with how you've supported her, Max. So those of you that know Max know that he is a precise guy with a very good wit and can keep us amused for hours. But he's more than just that. He's a very sound and able person, and he's kind and encouraging to Sophie, and we believe that's what brings out the best in them, and they are a great partnership together. Now, I say that you are a fine groom, and we're very proud to welcome you into the family. But of course, no one's perfect, are they? Although Sophie's speech alluded to the fact she decided she was going to marry you after the very first date, we slightly heard a different story. And Sophie had a bit of history here. Do you remember, Sophie? You were only about 15, and you'd been to the Barkham bonfire and you met a young chap called Harry who'd rather taken a shine to you. So much so.
Here he is.
And so Max, so he'd taken a shine to you. He even gave you a very expensive bottle of perfume for Christmas. Very sweet. However, Christmas finished. The family, the four of us, were having a meal in the kitchen, and there was a knock on the door, and Sophie realised it was Harry. I have never seen Sophie move so quickly. As they say in Roman times, faster than a speeding chariot. And as she left the room, she said to her mother, "Oh God, get rid of him," and she was up the stairs 3 at a time to her room. Nikki, of course, was now left, having to explain to Harry at the door that perhaps Sophie didn't want to see him. And I felt his disappointment. There was quite a lot of hesitation, but tail between his legs, he disappeared up the drive. But he had learnt his first lesson in love, and that is, you don't always know what you've done wrong, but undoubtedly you are at fault. I don't think Harry did know what he'd done at fault, but Max, I doubt if it was quite as bad as not liking fish. Which brings us back to why we think you may not have even got a second date. You see, although what Sophie said is what Sophie said, I obviously can't disagree with the bride, she did call us up and say, "I've met this really lovely guy in some sort of club, I don't know, tram or whatever." And she said, "I've had a date with him, and he's a really nice guy. He ticks almost every box. But he's got a major problem." "Hey, Sophie, what's that? So he doesn't like fish." And Nikki said to her, "For goodness sake, Sophie, that's not really a deal breaker, is it?" Sophie's response, "Oh my God, yes it is. Sushi is my favourite food. How can I go out with a man that will not go and have fish with me in a restaurant?" So, Max, we've not met you, but we thought you were a goner, just like Harry. But you were either very persistent or extraordinarily charming, and obviously you know it's the second one now. So here we all are today, and how happy we are to see you. Since then, as Sophie said, she has discovered a couple of other things you decline to eat. She says she's up for the challenge, it's work in progress, so you better look out. Now, there is one thing, Max, that personally I can't come to terms with about you. And that is your height. Standing next to you in photographs today, it makes me feel like I must come from some different, inferior species. But for the genetic pool of the Daborn Barrow, it will be very useful. But I was so concerned about this that I decided to have a chat with a friend of mine at work. He is a urological surgeon. For those of you that don't know what that is, it is a doctor who primarily looks after gentlemen's waterworks. I said to him about my concern, and he said, "Kim, actually, you do not need to worry. At work, we've been doing some statistics, and now we've proven it. That if every man could put his willy on his head, we'd all be exactly the same height." So now I feel much better. On to Sophie. Sophie, you are the most beautiful bride. You really did pull me over when I saw you today in that stunning dress. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of both of you. I'm so reassured, Max, that I can hand on some of the responsibility to you. Sophie, as we all know, she's delightful company. She's very vivacious. She is a bit of a social butterfly. She's kind, and she's always lighting up a room with a bit of giggling and chatting. Right, Sophie? But she's also very competitive, and she can be extremely persuasive, particularly perhaps to us menfolk. Example. Could you arrange a car to take us to the ceremony today? Yes, of course, darling. Good. On the other hand, do you think you could also paint the drain pipe, paint the shed, paint the garage door, plant the hedge, weed the flower bed, paint the windows of the house, make it look perfect, and of course move it slightly to the left? That is not entirely all true, but most of it is. But I would have done it willingly because she's worth it. But I probably would not have had a choice anyway, and I doubt you will either, Max. Sophie is, indeed, her mother's daughter on many things. They're both great company. They are both superb at planning and organising. So another word of advice, Max. If Sophie is planning something that you perhaps don't particularly go along with, don't fight it. She is inevitably right. You will realise this in retrospect, possibly when she's told you. But let's face it, go along with it because resistance is futile. But we must remember, Max, you and I, we are the chaps. We wear the trousers, but only with their permission. Well, Sophie has a very competitive streak. I've mentioned this, and this was shown, first of all, at a very early age. When maybe the girls were 2 or 3 and I'd drive them back from nursery, we'd get stopped sometimes at the railway crossing. And because they were tired, we had to invent a little game to keep them entertained. And the game was they had to compete as to which direction the train would come. Great game, I know, but it kept them amused. But because it was a competition, we had to have a prize. And I looked around in the car and I found a very old pink washer. And the girl that got the direction of the train right could hold the pink washer in their hand until we got home. I know it doesn't sound very exciting. I wish games were as simple as that these days, but Sophie would beam when she beat her little sister. And that is true. Sophie is also, she's quite a clever girl, not solely in the traditional sense. But she did win a prize at university. You knew this was coming. And she won a prize for being the most improved student. Now that is clever, as I say, because it depends on the starting point. And for Sophie, that was do absolutely bugger all for the first year, and then after that, you panic, and the only way is up, and you get a prize for it, and as I've said, Sophie's a sucker for a prize. Remember the little pink washer. She's a daredevil, but in her life, I honestly think she's never done anything wrong, have you?
Never.
Never. She's never been to prison. She's never crashed a car. Oh, actually, haven't I? She's never, ever gone against her mother's wishes. Oh, apart from the skydive on her 50th birthday, which you were forbidden to do. And you have never embarrassed yourself by overdoing it with the alcohol. Apart from maybe one occasion where you literally buried your 3 friends in the back of the car with your recycled dinner, and I was there to mop it up. She was always the child on the scariest funfair rides, arms in the air, not holding on, giving her mother kittens. And she was always up for the most ridiculous challenge without ever considering the consequences. A teaspoonful of cinnamon seems pretty innocuous, and especially if you ignore the death toll that's associated with it. Until you literally can't swallow, you literally can't breathe, and let's face it, Sophie, the rest of your life is a bonus from that point. But I do declare she is a perfect daughter because I would have hated to have a dull one. Max, you are a lucky man. but Sophie, you are equally a lucky lady. We love you both. We are so pleased you are hitched together, and we know you'll make each other happy until death you do part. But I have two mottos for you. The first one you are clearly following, and that is, I can't find it. That is, don't be too busy making a living that you forget to make a life. And so far, you have got that bang on. The other motto is always shine, but don't burn. I translate that as be a light, not a light. So, Sophie, I think we can say that you are the winner today. So I have a little prize for you, which I have been searching for, and there is a little pink washer, and you can hold it and hope it makes you feel as much as it did when you were 3 years old and was feeding your sister. So ladies and gentlemen, I think now is the time to stand up and toast this winning couple, Sophie and Max, the bride and groom.
No, thank you, darling. Good job. Yes.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Well, this is going swimmingly well. We're up to pace now because I think we're slightly behind time. I'm sure it'll pick up. We're not doing this speech. Absolutely amazing service, wasn't it? Well, I mean, that was incredible. The weather, the setting, the flower girls, or my grandchildren, some of them biased, and these pair, weren't they so wonderful and emotional? Oh, it's touching. I'm Max's dad. There's only one Max's dad, and that's me. This is my wife, Ness. So we'd like to welcome Sophie into our family. We have spent a lot of time together, weekends and holidays already, so she's a fabulous fit. It's going to work wonderfully, wonderfully well. As she said earlier, how would she describe Max? Well, he is annoyingly good at everything. I think are her words, and she used those before. Is he lucky? What was it lucky that they got together, or was it just skill? As Max would say. Max is the middle child. We have an elder daughter called Sophie, who has recently got married, and we have a younger daughter called Heidi. Now, as Sophie has got married, she doesn't need these clothing labels anymore. Sophie Barrow. So we have a huge bag of labels. So when there are 3 kids, there's the usual saying, which is the first child makes the rules, the second child disobeys the rules, the third child, there are no rules. And that was perfectly right in our house. Max, the second child, he didn't care about any rules. He just disobeyed them. In fact, it was his job to annoy his sisters. And that's what he did very well. And in fact, our Sophie's first words were, "No, Max." So she'd be there eating a nice little ice cream on the pier at Bournemouth, just eating it, and Max would be stuffing it up his nose, or wiping the ice cream over his trousers, and she'd go, "No, Max." He didn't care. But Max has a type, and we found this out when he was 4. We went to Disneyland, and he found Cinderella at Disneyland. Yes, and he asked for a kiss. We have a photo of it, and he's standing up there with his lips puckered up. Of course, he's only this big, and Cinderella's up here. And he got a kiss. He got a kiss from Cinderella. So, and he's been besotted with blondes ever since. So Max is generally very good at sport, as has already been mentioned, particularly football. What do you think of that, Louis? Good at sport.
Is he?
Yeah, okay. So, when he was young, there was a soccer fun football academy run by the Wokingham Football Club, starting from the age of 5. And he was keen to go, and I was keen for him to go. So we go along one Sunday morning, first Sunday morning, and you sort of volunteer to be a manager. So I was the manager for this particular week. And I went along the line, the first time I've done it. How old are you? 5. How old are you? 6. How old are you? 5. Come to Mac, how old are you? 3. You were 3 years old when you started that. And none of the other kids could believe it. What is he doing here? Anyway, he I don't think he really followed the ball, but you got better. Then he played for Wokingham under 5s for, he played from under 5s for about 4 or 5 years. And one of my proudest moments was we were playing in the under 8s, or he was playing in the under 8s, and we were in a semi-final of a tournament over the summer. And it was going well, but it was 0-0. We were deep into extra time. Now this is when we had golden goal. Do you remember golden goal in the late 90s? Yeah. So Max scores this screamer into the bottom left-hand corner. And of course the match is over, so all the parents run onto the pitch up to Max. Oh, I was moved. Was he lucky? Max would say it was skill. So he was pretty good at school. When he was 8, his maths teacher admitted to us during a parents' evening that when she was doing sums on the board, she would look over to him to find out if she was doing the sums right. And if he scrunched up his nose a bit, she knew she'd done it wrong. And she admitted to this in a parents' evening, thinking, I think we need to move school. Anyway, that's another story. And then later on, the next year, I was speaking to his English teacher, and she was saying that he had a spelling age 4 years older than what he was. It turns out he has got a bit of a photographic memory, which is why he's good at quizzes, you see. All that's useful for now is finding out the lineup for Manchester United against Crystal Palace in 2010. He will tell you these obscure facts, usually about football. He wasn't always good at school. So one morning, the school has built all these brand new classrooms for, and on this Saturday morning, all the official dignitaries are there to open the classrooms for the first time and to do the unveiling ceremony. So Max, first lesson in, he throws this ink cartridge across the room and it hits this brand new carpet, cream carpet, and explodes across it before the dignitaries have come round. And his teacher went absolutely ballistic. And Heidi went to the same school, and it was still there 10 years later. When he was going to university, Ness took him round lots of different universities, and they settled on Southampton, which was great. In hindsight, when we took him to his first day at Southampton, we were a day early. He was so keen to leave home. We were a day early. So we had to take him home, bring him back. Come the next day, he goes, "Where's the lake?" And Ness explained to him that was Nottingham. He'd actually chosen the wrong university. Anyway, first person he met was Michael, and it went pretty well after that. Was he lucky to get to Southampton? I think so. Not a lot still going on there. So what Sophie really wants to know, despite his academic and sporting prowess, is what attributes does he bring to the marriage? Well,
Height.
height, he brings height. He also brings creativity. So whilst he's reasonably good at table tennis, we had that mentioned earlier, he goes onto the Wikipedia page and adapts the entry, and he then becomes UK's table tennis champion 3 years running. Just because he can. Did that go on your CV?
No. It got taken down. It was unreliable sources.
So he's also very loyal. He's very loyal. He's been a Manchester United supporter since 5. And one of his friends' dads took him to Anfield. And Michael Owen was coming down the line signing autographs. And this dad said to Max, "Do you want Michael Owen's autograph?" And he goes, "No, he plays for Liverpool." Right in front of. So that's probably the first and last time Michael Owen's ever been snubbed by a 9-year-old. Max is also a careful driver. Now, he tells us he's a careful driver, and even his driving instructor told us he was a careful driver. But that wasn't always the case. When we were driving up through Sweden, we were going to go skiing. We hired a car in Stockholm and we were going up north. And we had one lunchtime, we sort of stopped by this frozen lake and there were other people just walking around. And so we thought, well, let's go and drive on the lake. So Max and I started driving on the lake. I've been doing 360s and all sorts of stuff like that. Great fun. I said, "Max, you want to go?" And he goes, "Yes, never driven before, can't even reach the pedals." Anyway, this pedal is forward, this pedal is stop. And he's sort of peering over, and he can't shut the door because he can't reach the handle. So he's driving around this lake, doing 360s, and it was tense. It was tense. Then Ness finds out from a local friend that actually the lake is a bit thin in the middle, where the streams come down. So she's hollering to him, going, "Max, come back," and he thinks she's waving. Oh, it was. Anyway, he's here to tell the tale. We got away with it. Was he lucky? It was skill. It was definitely skill. Stability. He also brings stability to the marriage. He's only ever had one proper job. He's been in it for 10 years. He's had lots of summer jobs. Only one proper job. And what a great company it is, but that's another story. Was he lucky to get into the job? No, it was skill. He's also great at DIY, as already been mentioned. He built this amazing seat and cupboards under the bay window, which is actually quite impressive. Fitted his own kitchen. However, when he was at school and he was doing metalwork, he brought home this candle holder from school. And I greeted him at the door, and he presents this to me. And I'm going, "Oh, this is amazing," and stuff like that. Anyway, Ness walked into the room and says, "What's this?" And I go, "I've just bought this at a charity shop." And she goes, "It's rubbish." So then I say, "Well, look at the lovely spikes." She says, "They're not even straight." This is all in front of Max. He's a bit shocked. I did have a pawn shop for buying things at charity shops, so it wasn't out of character. Anyway, and then I said, "No, not really. It's Max's. Of course, it's the most wonderful thing ever, and it's sat on our hearth for 10 years." So he brings creativity, loyalty, careful driving, stability, DIY to a marriage. So, what brings us here today? Is it luck or is it skill? Well, it was lucky that you both were in that bar a few Februaries ago. And was it skill? Well, Max would say it was skill. He conjured up these thoughts of when he was 4, saw his Cinderella across the room, and he wanted to go and ask for a kiss, but actually he wanted something a bit more serious than that, her phone number. Congratulations to Sophie and Max. Be upstanding. Thank you.
Skill, bro. Skill.
I'm just going to start because we'll have people come in. So, thank you. It's my turn for some thank yous. Before I do, I actually just want to say how good that pudding was, and the reason I say it is because it was mostly me, which I can't say for most of this wedding. It's all been by my amazing wife. But Sophie asked me what I wanted for pudding, and I said donuts, and she said try again. And then I said meringue and a brownie, and she went, should we use some churros, a pavlova, and a brownie? And I went, oh, perfect. So she's good this one. I'll work on it later. Yeah, thank you for everybody coming. It's been an incredible day. Obviously the night is still young, but it really has been amazing. And it's crazy how quickly it's gone, but testament to everybody being here. And here is amazing. So first of all, I must thank our incredible hosts, Nikki and Kim. I know how much time and effort has gone into this. It has been a long time coming, so much so that when me and Sophie told them we were engaged, they were already doing the gardening for today. Reason being is they knew when I was proposing, I asked for their permission a few weeks before, so they knew when and where it was happening. So we FaceTimed them, and they were like, "Yeah, congratulations, but we're thinking about taking down the front hedge." And they did. And it's amazing. So kudos. But yeah, thank you. And you heard about my frustrations, my issues from a food perspective. So thank you for being so welcoming. And I can honestly say, Nikki, I'm not allergic to fish or coffee or nuts. I just really don't like them. But it's a great family to be with. They all work for the NHS. So these three, Anna and Chris, all work for the NHS. Good shout for our heroes. It does make you look like the black sheep when we're having dinner, the six of us, and they're all speaking about NHS jargon that just goes over my head. They talk about being on call, EKGs, pay freezes, it just completely goes all over my head. But thank you so much for raising such a kind, caring daughter. Unfortunately, today isn't about you, Anna. But, that's next year. Thank you to you guys. From one family to another. My parents are here today, obviously, and as you heard, they've sacrificed quite a lot. They pulled me out of the local CB school when, by the way, any parent would say, "Oh, that's just a teacher being humorous about the maths thing," but they were like, "Oh wow, we must take him out right now." And they did. They took me out of my school halfway through, sent me to a lovely school for 5 years, and then Bradford College for 5 years. But it all paid off in the end because I got a 2-2 and worked for my dad's company. So.
You tell everyone it's 2-1.
Even on LinkedIn, it's a 2-1. I think it was a first about a year ago. It wasn't always easy for them. So we had an absolute banger of a car when we were at Eagle House School. We had a green Volvo, and I will remember the number plate to the day I die. It was L522GFC. I can see Sophie saying it as well. And the reason I know it is because when my mum picked me up from school one day, to leave the grounds you have to go up a bit of a hill, and she picked me up and we just wouldn't go up the hill, which is super embarrassing. And we had to pull over because it literally, for love nor money, it wouldn't go up. So we pull over, and quite a few of the staff live on the ground, so we have to pull over. And if anybody's met my mum, she loves to laugh. I think it's her way of disarming, but she's always laughing. So she pulls over and knocks on I think it was my art teacher's house. And she's like, "Oh, hi Paul, how's it going?" The car just won't go up, and he's like, "Oh, no worry about this. I just want the ground to open up." It's just so embarrassing. We're in this nice school, and we can't even leave the place. And eventually, I think we had to wait a while, and it did eventually we didn't make it out, but it was, and from that moment on, whenever I saw the car coming, I refused to be picked up by the normal spot, because my worst nightmare, I'd get in the car and we just wouldn't move. In front of all my friends, I'd just sleep into the chair. So yeah, thank you for putting me through that. And I take the mickey out of your laughing, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it, and I love you. You've been there every step of the way. I know when my dad wasn't around, you were, he was working. You were always there. So I'll never take that for granted. So I love you loads, and all the best. My dad, slightly different, a bit more happy-go-lucky, shall we say. We always joke that my mum had 4 kids to deal with. So I've got many stories of him misbehaving. Too little time to go through. One of them that does stand out is we were in Kenya for the millennium. It was New Year's Eve 99. We were staying at a lovely hotel, and for the New Year's Eve celebrations, they put out all the tables around the pool. It was a firework display, and it was candlelit dinner. And we were sitting down, and if anybody knows I'm a bit of a pyromaniac, I'll always play with candles or bonfires or fireplaces, so I kept on extinguishing the candle, and every time I did, the waiter had to come over and relight it, and this happened 5 or 6 times, and my dad said, if you do that once more, you're going in the pool. I was 9 at this point, and I was like, yeah, whatever. So anyway, 1 or 2 minutes later, the candle went out, and I just look up, and we lock eyes. I'm basically calling his bluff. And when he's not going to do this, we're in an am of being picked up by my haunches. He picks me up, past other tables, throws me into the pool, fully clothed, in the middle of a very nice dinner. I have to resurface, paddle over to the steps, soaking wet, walking past other tables, just dripping wet. And all I can hear is my mum berating my dad. He's fully clothed, you blinking fool. And my dad's just laughing. He's having a great time. And I'm glad you did it, otherwise we weren't talking about it today. So I think that's where I get my mantra. If it's funny, do it, say it, or more recently, video it. Which almost cost Robbie his life, but that's another story. So yeah, please don't ever change, and thank you, as you said, 37 years, is that right? Yeah. 37 years married is a true inspiration. So thank you guys so much. And where would a brother be without his sisters? Sophie, I'm coming to you. So Sophie is my eldest sister of 14 months, I think it is, 14, 15 months. And 13? Christ. If anybody has a sibling of a similar age, you grow up, you do everything together, you go to school for the most part, and you go to parties together, you spend your weekends and everything together, so you are naturally bonded, and you have a lot of private jokes, a lot of in-jokes that nobody else gets. And I was thinking about these recently, and there was one that sprung to mind. We had a made-up language. Now I don't really think of this as some sort of French-German hybrid. I'm talking like, and we used to do this in front of strangers to impress them. We used to go, and we used to think that, wow, those strangers must think we're really intelligent. And obviously we're just speaking absolute gobbledygook. And it was just, and it's only looking back at it now, I thought, wow, those people must have thought there's something wrong with those kids. Because we used to do it all the time, thinking we were really cool and like some hyper-intelligent kids, but we're actually just idiots. And there's so many other private jokes that nobody else would get, so I didn't think I'd do them, but then I thought, fuck it, it's not about you guys. Action man, it brings to all the more. There goes the cellar, baby! And there's a few others I've forgotten, but there's a few more in there. Let's just be yourself, so I hope you enjoy it. You don't know. It's right, you're not rabbit, they're all coming back together. So thank you for being on, sister. Thank you for being parents who we've already spoken about, our amazing nieces. Lola and Lara, we love spending time with them, and now Sophie is officially an auntie. I'll happily share a bit more of that because I've been sort of hoarding them. But they really are great, and both yourself and John, they are so polite. They're just all P's and Q's, down to tears. Not only they're really cute, but they're just so well behaved, and I just bloody love them. And yeah, you guys are just the best. So long may it continue. And then we have my younger sister, little Hydes. So Heidi is 26, 27, something like that. I actually don't know, it's probably around there. 26. So Heidi's 26, she owns a house, she's a qualified dentist, done most of Invisalign for the Barrow family. So she's an adult. But I will always picture her as 3, maybe 4, because she was just always in that ballpark. And when you have a vision in your memory of her in a cat dressing gown in the living room on all fours, going to a corner of the room and lifting her hind leg up for the 10p, you just don't lose that image. So she will always be my little sister who has just been very immature. And I love it. The story goes, I was disappointed to get a sister when we were told that we were having a sister. Sophie was up in arms, I was facing hands. But I thought, ever the optimist, I was, trying to move her into some sort of brotherly love. And I was mean to her, I used to cut her beanie babies up, I used to charge her using a water dispenser, I let her play video games, and I think my most proud memory was when she called me when she was at uni, and she was telling me about her uni, and she said, oh yeah, we did a Call of Duty tournament, and I won with all my friends, and they were all super impressed. And they were like, where did you learn that? And she was like, oh, it was my brother. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then she was like, yeah, exams are going, well, I don't care about it. What class are you using? What, using M4? What sector are you using? The pistol? Using the launcher? What sort of things are you doing? So, yeah, that was a hugely proud moment for me. It was a 91 gaming tournament at uni. It shows I had a bit of influence from a brotherly side. But I love you, Hayden. Marty's the bad one. So I eventually pulled the nest. I moved out. I went to Southampton Uni. I went there 3 years, the year born in Paris, and then moved to London. It's been there 10 years, 9 years in tutoring. And it's just been amazing. I think it's mainly down to these 2 tables here. There's just so much nostalgia throughout southwest London. Whether it's, day festivals, house parties, football on the common, brunches, you name it. It's been, there's too many of you to say, which is really bad, because it's so impressing me to get this speech down, because she says it's been going on for too long in practicing. But you guys are amazing. I've had some amazing times with a lot of houses, a lot of housemates. And actually worked out I've lived with Robbie the most. So I've lived with Robbie in 5 different houses since we met. And if anybody knows Robbie, living with him is an experience. You do that 5 times and you've seen everything. Most cannot be shared. But we range from the hilarious when he brought a tramp back after a night out to sit in the living room just for a chat, to more incredulous when he left the front door open all day and I came back from work, the front door open. By the way, this was 3 years ago. We're not talking at uni, we're talking at tutoring. Just coming back the door open. Oh, sorry. But I don't have it anywhere. There's one story. I think we were living together and everybody left for, I think it was Christmas holidays, and Robbie was the last to leave. Loves a bath, had a very sensual bath, a few candles here and there. And he left to go to Bath, so he drives about 3 hours home. Within 2 minutes of arriving, he realises, shit, did I extinguish the candles? So without anybody being there, he has to drive all the way back to London, finds out that the candles had all been extinguished, and then drives all the way back to Bath. Now that tells you a lot about Robbie. He loves a bath, loves a soak. He's sort of part amphibian. He's just always having a nice central bath. I don't know what he does in there, but he's in there for hours at a time. I don't know. Secondly, he can be a bit forgetful. I'm not sure about you, but if I'm leaving the house, even to put the bins out, I'm like, is my heating on? Is the stove on? Is the back window open? We're already leaving 3 weeks. Yeah, I'll maybe close the door, this sort of thing. But lastly, he has a heart goal. Knew he could change it, had to rectify it, and for that reason, I love you, man. On to my most recent housemate, Charles Pestel. We lived together just up until a couple of years ago. We would have moved in with our respective partners sooner if they had their way. I think Laura and Sophie were like, have you guys had the conversation about moving out? And we were like, yeah, we'll get around to it, maybe. Because I think we wanted to keep carrying on the bachelor lifestyle. And they were like, I think it's time you have the conversation. We're like, yeah, we'll get around to it. Eventually peer pressured into it. So we spent lockdown together. And when people talk about lockdown, some people are like, oh, it's very difficult. But we were like, hang on, it's illegal for me to socialise and exercise. We were quiz in. So we just played games, watched TV, films, home workouts. It was amazing. I have very fond memories. Unfortunately, we were working on a very small dining table, back to back, monitor to monitor. So it was very, very closed space. And I knew that it was very unproductive because if one of us was done with the day, they would turn their PlayStation on with the unmistakable sound of a beep. And the day was over. I was like, okay, let's go. Didn't know work, but it was had some amazing memories. So I love you, man. And then we have Ben. Hello, Ben. So Toots, he's sort of like the brother I never had. Because if anybody saw us interacting, would think we hate each other. Because we know how to push each other's buttons. We love getting in fights, and it's very, very much of a brotherly relationship. But I wouldn't have it any other way. We've had fights across the globe. We were fighting in Nashville. We were both kicked out of the bar, both still in each other's headlocks, not refusing to give in and lose, and just being escorted out of the bar, just in respective headlocks. We were fighting Trot Stag Do, where we both ripped each other's t-shirts. That's supplementary. Within a week, we both replenished them, so it was a very nice touch. We had that fight in Tiptoe, with organised sumo wrestling. Finished 1-1, still waiting for the decider. And of course the curry night, which the less we speak about, the better. Please don't change, and I especially mean that from a golfing perspective. Because there are a few things in the world that will make me laugh every time, and one of them is Toots with his driver on a tee, just trying to take the paint off the ball and it going horribly wrong. And him thinking it's a good shot, and go bang! It's always terrible. And I know friends are supposed to beat each other up and hope they improve, but please don't get better at golf. I'd be very annoyed, so keep it on there. And then we have Michael, my best man, who's probably the partner I never had. I'm of course joking. If we were partners, it would be very unhealthy. I'd be twice the size and Mike would be a bit slimmer. But as you heard, Michael was the first person I met at uni. We were next door neighbours. We went to the bar together, and there was this 17-year-old with a dodgy moustache and a thick South African accent. He was fresh off the boat, and I thought, hang on, I can mould something here. We always joke who took each other under each other's wing, and I can now say that I was under your wing. I will honestly say that because we just had such a good time, and we became instant friends. We had a love of golf, terrible films, watching Sharknado 5 on repeat is still one of my favourite things to do. I wouldn't have it any other way. And we spent a lot of FIFA together, so much so that when we made a bet, Michael lost the bet, and as his punishment, I tattooed his favourite FIFA player on his left arse cheek. So I am permanently etched on Michael's arse with the initials of Bobby Zamora, who was his favourite FIFA player in FIFA 11, and I quote, made his year.
No regrets.
No regrets. So I love those memories. We used to play FIFA like dangerously much just because it was so fun. I remember when we were living together, Michael used to work the American shift. He worked midday till 8 p.m. and we were living in Gateside Road, and Trot and Charles were there, and sometimes if I went to bed early, I'd be like, oh, shall I go to bed, shall I wait up? And I would sort of be on like a kid at Christmas on the landing, waiting for him to come home, hopefully hoping to play FIFA, and every time he'd come and go, set it up. Set it up. So that's some great memories. The best, love you. Alright, I think that's everybody. So, no, so there is one final reason why I'm here, and that is because back in 2019, my life changed forever. And that reason is, of course, Japan. It was just so good. The food, the transport, the toilets, the infrastructure. Wow. Do not get me started about Japan. I'm going to peace. No, I am of course semi-joking. No, I'm of course joking. Back in February 2019, I met my beautiful wife, Sophie. as you heard, we met in Tram Social, the name of our table. I was there with a few friends. She was there with the Forks girls, the Kent girls. Shout out to Izzy, Erika and Foster. I saw her from across the dance floor. I like to think it was her silly dance move. She always doesn't agree that she was dancing normally, but I don't think she can dance normally. That's what I love. So I cycled over there, and the exact line is sort of forgotten, but it was something along the lines of, how come you have a security team around? It was something along the lines of that, and we got talking until the lights came up. We exchanged numbers and agreed to meet up a week later. And I remember the following day, I was meeting my dad and brother-in-law. We were in Gatwick Airport flying to Rome the weekend to see the Rome Derby, so Rome Lazio. Typical weekend activity. And I remember telling them about Sophie. I didn't specify her name. I'm probably still drunk because it was probably happened maybe 6-7 hours beforehand. And I remember saying, I met someone, she was great, we're hoping to meet up, which I've never done before. So I obviously knew that it was slightly different and it was going somewhere. And we did agree to meet up a week later. Had some amazing dates, amazing memories. She moved in a couple of years after that, and it's just been the most, I said it earlier, it's just been the most easiest and most enjoyable experience of my life. You make every day just the most amazing, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You just really are the best, and I love you so much. It's changed my life irreversibly. We do this thing called chatting, I think it is called chatting. It's basically a gossip exchange. Sophie just comes back and we just chat, don't we? It's just bizarre, it's just chatting. Maybe Sophie bitching about work, but I'm just there for it now. I used to have like dinners in front of the TV, now we just chat, we're just conversing, aren't we? It's bananas. And I bloody love it, it's just so fun. As you heard, she unfortunately does suffer from the Daborn trait of being a bit of an overthinker, a bit of an over-warrior, which is get Sophie, Nikki and Anna in a room with a tough decision, just forget about it. Jesus, just come back in 6 months, it is unbelievable. I don't know how you did it, Kim, it is impressive. You're just thinking about things you just never think, I was like, oh God, I just need to go down. And one of those examples, we were in Budapest a couple of years ago. We went to Budapest for a weekend, lovely romantic weekend, and we did an activity. It was an experience. It was a blind experience. You go to a venue, and it is essentially a house that's pitch black, and you get escorted around by a blind person just to show how they go throughout their day. They make the washing, listen to the radio, and it's just us two and Zolly. Remember Zols? We still talk about Zols. And we're going through this experience, and he's talking about this, that, and the other, and he's like, oh yeah, listen to this artist. And then Sophie goes, oh yeah, have you seen that latest music video? And she shuts up, and he carries on, he probably happens all the time. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. And in this pitch black room, I can see her getting red. I'm like, oh no. She's going to be talking about this for a while. Anyway, we get through the rest of the experience and we eventually leave. As soon as we're out of earshot, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. She goes, is he going to be alright? Sophie, calm down. It probably happens to I feel so bad. What am I going to do? She's like, oh, Sophie, let's calm down. This happens all the time. And we still talk about it to this day. Poor Zolly, Sophie's faux pas, since 4 years ago. And that's just testament to Sophie. She always wants to please everybody. There was another time I came back, I think you were working from home, and I came back and she goes, oh, I've done something bad. I went, oh God, what have you broken? What's going on? And she goes, I signed us up for HelloFresh. Go on. There was a guy came and he was really nice and he was really kind and he had a lovely story. Oh, okay. So I said, we don't need HelloFresh. Yeah, you're right, we don't. Are you going to cancel it? Yeah. She goes, should I cancel it now? I go, yeah. Will you find out? I went, yeah. Give me a steak. She went, no, you'll find out. I'll do it tomorrow. I was like, okay, just do it now. Forget about it. He might come back though. I'm like, Sophie, just do it now. And he did do it now. And she did do it now. And lo and behold, he didn't come back. But those are just some of the moments. I mean, that's me sort of nitpicking. Like, it's a real struggle just because yeah, you just are the best, and I literally can't wait for the next chapter of our lives, whatever that may be. You know, I follow you through thick and thin, and I'm just so excited for what's to come. And I love you so much. This is so fun. This is so good. So actually, you didn't let me rickroll on our save the day. I'm not sure many brides know what a rickroll is, but she let me do a meme on our save the day. Just kudos to her to sort of, you know, keep me, you know, entertained, having my little bit of fun. So yeah, please don't change. I love you so much. Yeah, please be upstanding for Barrow. Thank you so much. That's me done. I will now hand over the reins to my best man, who I just had to go at his race. So we'll see how this goes.
You're going to regret that. Hello everyone, you've heard me a few times already make a few announcements. I did have one more. A car key was actually found earlier today with like an orange tab. If no one's claiming it, I am also selling a car. But I'll just leave this, I'll keep it over here if anyone wants it. So I'm very mindful that I am standing between the cake cutting, the incessant drinking, and the dancing. So I've made sure I've created a clearly orchestrated and condensed 40-minute speech that I want to deliver to you guys. So if you don't know me already, my name is Michael. I'm Max's best man, and I've had a chance to get to know a few of you today, and a lot of you I've known for a number of years. And I think if you're sitting here today, it's really a good view of Max's and Sophie's judgment of character, because I've spoken with great women, great men, but for one night only, I am the best man. And obviously, thank you, Max and Sophie, for that honor. Truly, it's a real honor. I'm humbled and privileged, and thank you for giving me this responsibility. Another thank you to the parents of both the groom and the bride for raising such incredible people. And one final thank you to Costco for their low prices on alcohol. Making sure that your glasses stay full and the mood stays high. I've known Max since I moved to this country back in 2009, fresh off the boat, legally, I might add. And that was at Southampton University, and as it's already been highlighted, as fate would have it, we were roomed next to each other in halls. And on that first day, having got to know a few people on that corridor, I met Max and I knew straight away he would have to do. But fast forward 14 years, and I honestly could not be prouder to be able to call you my best mate and confidant. You're one of the few people I know who can truly grab the bull by the horns. It's a metaphor. But that actually did happen. But you know, it's important to have people around you that bring you up and help you grow. No matter, woman's really an island, and a true friendship is one where you're really better together. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. A friendship, a partnership, a marriage. One that brings two amazing people together and makes them better. Now, we've all heard the story of how Sophie met. It was happenstance in a club. I think there was a bigger divine power at play. I think Sophie was brought onto this earth to be able to change Max's childlike eating habits, because the reason it's become a recurring theme is because it really is a problem. Okay, we can make light of it, but seriously, this is more of an intervention than a wedding at this point. So if you've ever had to order food to share with Max, all I could say, it's a maddening experience. It can't be too colourful, it can't be too exotic. It has to either run or fly. Definitely can't swim. If he can't pronounce it, he won't eat it. And even though he hates peanuts, he really likes the idea of satay sauce. And Sophie introduced it to him. And Sophie's not just a fantastic dietitian, but also an inventor, because she somehow was able to come up with a satay sauce that was peanut-free. Or at least that's what she told Max. And she's been leaning on that strategy ever since, hiding mushrooms and greens in his food to make sure that he was getting his 5 a day one way or another. But all jokes aside, there really is a reason why Max's relationship towards food has gradually changed, albeit kicking and screaming, because he trusts Sophie unconditionally, and he knows that every decision that she makes on his behalf is to ensure that they grow together and become better together. Now, the man I see before me, and the one who's gotten all of these compliments about being measured, caring, sensible, it's not the man I met. No, the man I once knew prioritized bacon darts and FIFA over lectures. We were shocked when he got that tutu. Now, he also thought it was a good idea with his fair complexion to apply tanning oil in 35-degree Spanish sun. He did blister. And we've heard about my tattoo, but what you don't know is he's challenged me on 2 occasions. And all I'm going to say is I only have 1 tattoo. But unsurprisingly, we've grown so much over the years. It's been an absolute pleasure watching you grow. And Sophie, over the years I've known you, I think you've grown over that period as well. And none of this is possible without two vital ingredients. A strong group of friends and a caring family unit. So a toast to all that we call friends. Woo. And with that in mind, a special shout out to the Southampton and Squaddies contingent sitting over there. I think I can speak for both Sophie and Max when I say that our enduring friendship over the course of these last 14 years is truly testament to the people you are and the memories we've made along the way. So thank you for all of that, and I can't wait for the next 14. And another toast to Max's and Sophie's amazing parents and family. I've known Max's parents over the course of those 14 years, and I just want to say thank you for the person that you've raised. You've given him strong morals, strong principles, but obviously not a strong hairline. But if that's what he has in his future, the future is bright. Sophie, your sunny disposition, positivity, and just overall loveliness has brought a calming confidence in Max that I never grow tired of seeing day in and day out. I think you moving in provides a perfect physical epitome of how you are better together. We've touched on Max's fantastic DIY skills, and he's built an incredible house, but you made it a loving home. Everyone here, I think, can agree that Max is a fantastic guy, but you've made him a caring man. And I know that wasn't easy. So I think you've wholeheartedly earned the 20 mini-moons you'll be taking this year. Now, speaking of travel, and it's already been pointed out here, if you've spent at least just 10 minutes with Max, you'll know he's been to Japan. And truthfully, simply being a non-Japanese person has the locals turning heads. Now, you can only imagine being 6'4" in that country. But Max never shied away from the attention. In fact, he leaned into it. And we found ourselves in Kyoto, where we came across an impromptu sumo wrestling in the canals, the ankle-high canals of Kyoto. Max quickly joined in, and after a few easy wins, we found ourselves at the climax of the final. A brutal battle with their strongest Japanese man from Kyoto against the English foreigner that we see here. 5 minutes of back and forth, and finally we had a winner. Max had won. And with this came his very own title and a place in Japanese sumo law. From there on in, he would be known as Kyojin, which means English giant. And today and every day, from now on, you should feel just like that, a giant. Standing 10 foot tall, because you found what everyone truly looks for. And that's the unconditional love of a significant other. And just as you showed continued strength in that canal in Kyoto, the love you hold for Sophie will give you the strength to provide for her and care for her from now until the end. So I'm hoping this little journey has taught us all a few anecdotes about Max, that Sophie is an absolute boss, and that the life we live and the memories that we make can't really be possible without someone to share them with. So Max and Sophie, I truly wish you the very best in life. Thank you for being some of the best people I know, and Max, thank you so much for being one of the best friends I have, and you really are a brother to me, so thank you, and I love you. And one more announcement to round it up. The cake cutting will take place in 5 minutes. So we can all enjoy Nikki's 3-tier cake. I forgot the cheers. So could we all please be standing for Max and Sophie and their best man, Michael Almeida?
Make it easy.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Oh, we're done with you.